the story unfolds at a remote coal mining site. The owner, who prefers hands-on work, talks with his son about a troublesome worker they plan to fire. The son defends the worker but encounters unexpected trouble when he realizes vital equipment has been left behind. As he goes to retrieve it, he is suddenly dragged away by a mysterious creature lurking in the shadows. Many years later, Ariane, a determined professional guide, reads newspaper clippings about mysterious worker deaths in a massive fire at the Shookham Hills mining site. The authorities couldn't explain the tragedy, leading to the mine's closure. What's strange is that Shookham Hills vanished from maps in the 1970s as if it never existed. Undeterred, Ariane persists in her quest for information about Shookham Hills, uncovering eerie secrets that refuse to stay buried. A few days later, Ariane and her group of scientist clients begin their journey in a car. Despite the scientists being men, some are chatty and complain about various things, including the lack of cell phone signal. They reach a small town and stop at a store with a dark, eerie atmosphere. The cashier, a gruff-looking man, catches their attention. Ariane boldly asks about Shookham Hills, missing from the map. But the man advises Ariane to turn back, hinting at dangers ahead. Annoyed but intrigued, Ariane leaves the store. Meanwhile, the man calls to report their presence. As the scientists drive on, a car begins to follow them for no apparent reason, then abruptly stops. Sensing a trap, Ariane urges caution, suspecting the car is following them. Once it retreats, they rush toward their destination, trekking through a daunting forest marked with danger signs. Their path is suddenly blocked by an electric fence, intensifying their curiosity and unease about what awaits them beyond. She then sets up her equipment and climbs the nearest tree to explore and collect samples. They decide to camp by the river for the night, discussing theories about Shookham Hills' mysterious disappearance. Darren suggests an underground cavity that swallows up everything, while Shaw believes in a deep hole Russian diggers found, possibly leading to the underworld or hell. He plays a chilling recording from that hole, claiming it sounds like the cries of damned souls. However, Darren disputes this, attributing the sounds to tectonic plates, sparking a heated debate. Meanwhile, local residents led by Dale discovered damaged wire at the gate, possibly by wild animals. They search the area, and one ventures alone to inspect the fenced-off hole, only to be attacked by a creature. Later, an elderly man named Paul, who lost his son at the start of the movie, insists that all residents must find the scientists and drive them away. The next day, Ariane's group continues their exploration. They discover unusual structures with new-looking loudspeakers, raising their curiosity. While investigating a smoky soil formation, the mysterious car from before passes by, adding to their unease. After further exploration and a long journey, they finally reach Shookham Hills. The buildings are surprisingly intact but eerily deserted, with no signs of any inhabitants. The group decides to document everything as they explore the houses, finding more smoke. They speculate that mine gases caused the residents to flee. Opening a back door, they finally discover the mining area, thrilling Darren and his friends. They approach a large pit enclosed by an electric fence, cutting the wires despite Ariane's warnings. Once their equipment is set up, they lower a scanner into the hole, quickly revealing a significant deposit of pure anthracite below. Before they could celebrate, Terry hears an eerie sound through his headphones. He alerts his colleagues, but before they can react, something pulls him into the pit. His screams indicate he's alive. Ariane quickly prepares to descend with James. At the bottom, they spot a mysterious figure. Concerns about gas levels force Ariane to insist on James' immediate ascent. Meanwhile, Dale arrives with a rifle, furious about the pit being opened. Darren intervenes and knocking him unconscious. Upon returning to the surface, Ariane and James struggle to describe what they saw deep in the pit. It's clear something dangerous lurks below, possibly taking Terry. With their communication devices useless, they reluctantly leave Dale behind and use his car to seek help. Tensions rise as they drive through the woods, leading to a heated argument that causes a distracting accident. During the night, Dale regains consciousness near the pit and tries to contact his colleagues with a radio. He reports the scientists damaging the fence around the hole, triggering an alarm. Unfortunately, Dale falls victim to an attack before he can save himself. Continuing their journey on foot, the group of scientists hears eerie sounds. So, they switch off their flashlights and use night vision, trying to hide, but are ambushed. Sean is captured by mysterious creatures. Soon after, a truck driven by local residents arrives. The group urgently seeks their help and is allowed on board. They reach a checkpoint within the mining area, where residents discuss the emergency. Shelby takes charge and leads them to a cabin filled with information about the creatures. When it's revealed the scientists tampered with the hole, elderly man Elroy becomes furious and confronts Darren and his friends. Paul, the owner of the mining site, joins the heated exchange, revealing his tragic past and dedication to safeguarding Scum Hills. And now, monsters are unleashed, prompting Paul and the residents to return to investigate the open hole. Feeling responsible, Ariane offers to join them. As they prepare, Shelby receives messages about the monsters approaching the sites. Realizing their car could not get them away, she suggests making a run for the hills to escape. Elroy decides to sacrifice himself, unable to keep up. The group reaches a hilltop house and tries to stay quiet, but a creature discovers them outside. It roars, summoning more monsters. Shelby creates a diversion, seeking refuge in a back room, but the monsters quickly break through the door. Amid the chaos, James discovers a hidden tunnel leading to a cave. Everyone rushes through it to escape. Shelby bravely splits from the group to distract the pursuing monsters. Later, Ariane, Darren, and James find themselves trapped in a dead-end corridor with monsters closing in. They hastily build a barrier for protection. James, with a grenade as a last resort, sacrifices himself by detonating it to fend off the monsters. Now only Ariane and Darren remain, continuing through the narrow passageway in search of an exit. Exhausted, they decide to rest. Darren confesses he was sent by a mining company for a hefty payment to locate coal, not out of curiosity. Ariane shares her haunting experience from an expedition in the Himalayas, where a client slipped and fell despite her efforts to save him, putting them all at risk. Rescue never came, and Ariane had to let go of her client to save herself in the Himalayas. As Darren's condition worsened, Ariane decided to forge ahead alone for an escape route, promising to return. Meanwhile, Paul leads the residents in a plan to gather and confront the monsters. Gunshots ring out as they defend against the creatures breaching the fence. Ariane hears the gunfire, signaling her proximity to the surface, but the monsters draw nearer. She hides, patiently waiting for them to pass. Just when Ariane thought she was safe, she fell victim to a sudden monster attack. She woke up on a raft with Shelby, who was critically injured. A monster lurked nearby, distracted momentarily. Ariane attempted to escape into the river but faced the relentless creature again. Later, she found herself with Sean and Darren, also captured. As Ariane regained consciousness and tried to grab the grenade, Sean explained the creature's unique reproductive and colonizing behavior. Before he could finish, the monsters dragged him to their queen, who seemed eager to consume him. The queen monster still hungry, and Ariane was next. Darren, now alert, used his phone to create a distraction with its alarm. In the chaos, Ariane detonated the grenade, allowing them to escape. They found a rope leading back to the hole they entered. Despite their quick ascent, a monster grabbed Darren's leg. Despite his efforts, Darren couldn't free himself. In a heartbreaking move, he sacrificed himself to save Ariane. Ariane watched in horror as the monsters devoured Darren. As Ariane hung on the rope, One of the residents began to cut the rope to stop the monsters from coming up, but Paul intervened swiftly, rescuing Ariane and organizing a defense using flamethrowers against the approaching creatures. The movie ended with Paul escorting Ariane to safety, where he shared the tragic story of his son's death, shaping his determination to protect Shkum Hills. Despite initial disbelief, Paul invited Ariane to join him in guarding the area from curious visitors and keeping the monsters confined underground. Reluctant at first, Ariane eventually embraced the challenge, returning with essential gear to aid Paul in safeguarding Shkum Hills. Together, they stood ready to defend against future threats, ensuring the story concluded with a sense of resolution and determination.